We're going to be talking through this Monday slate. We'll touch on a few things. I didn't play much over the weekend. I actually did okay at golf. I wanted to point out also for golf, I don't remember ever seeing a 5 of 6 win the lottery. As long as I've been doing this, I don't think it's happened. So the 5 of 6 won the lottery. So I can't be that mad about Sam Burns not making the cut, although it probably cost me a good 10 to 15,000 because had he made the cut, it basically would have had all 6 and 6s or 30% 6 and 6s on like a 2 per, anyway, it was a little tilting, but I ended up doing okay in golf. I'm going to be gone until Wednesday afternoon. I'm actually going to be somewhere I may not be able to get cell reception, which could be good or bad for me. It's very scary for those of you guys who've been following me. I keep getting hacked in different ways on Instagram, on WhatsApp, on Facebook. My bank account was, my credit card was 6 weeks ago. Then yesterday, the bank itself said someone was in my account and they were trying to get stuff. So I don't know if it's good for me to be out of service, but I'm going to be out of touch with the world for a few days. Sheets, how was your weekend? How are you doing? And
well, let's talk about a couple of things. First of all, with respect to golf, and again, there's something to be learned from everything. When and I was looking at the lottery and even the signature hold or whatever, and I saw all these guys with only 90 holes remaining going into the Sunday, and usually you think that they're dead, right? But remember, when you have a course which is just not giving anything up, it's sometimes better to have your score done. You know what I mean? Because nobody really has upside on this course, So
Right.
It's not like having 18 holes remaining is even some people were negative. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because of that. So it's not that, and it's hard to make up that many position points too. So so here was my DFS weekend. So you just keep fighting, man. So golf just couldn't get going. I had a couple I thought were good, no good. Then I tried in a showdown, couldn't quite get there. MMA was off to a good start, got nothing done. I played the Truck Series on whatchamacallit in NASCAR, did pretty well there. And then, the Xfinity Series, no good. Played NBA every day, Saturday, Sunday, whatever it is. Can't get anything done. And then at the very, very last freaking slate, we won the hockey.
Oh, shit. Nice.
We won the hockey, the big buy-in for Sunday night. I mean, there's nothing softer than a 6 p.m. Sunday hockey slate. To that point,
during March Madness on top of it.
Right. Yeah. To that point, my highest priced skater made a 0, and I still won the tournament.
Yeah. That's crazy.
So there, and the sad thing is, I'd love to say that got me even, but it did not. Nonetheless, but it got me 10K more than if I didn't do that. So that's that was good, and the guy even got a stat adjustment to get within 0.4. So I was not to be denied, at least on this occasion. As far as my schedule coming up, I'm actually it's my wife's anniversary in mind, so. We always go away that weekend, so we're leaving a little earlier this week. We're leaving Wednesday, coming back Sunday. So my MLB, opening day is actually going to be Monday. I don't know if I'm going to get projections up until then. I'm going to do my best, but usually what I have to do is I have to test the new formats and then adjust them. So I don't know if I'll be able to get it done, but we'll see. The other thing is that as far as March Madness goes, I'm actually pretty live in a couple of Survivor pools. Actually, we'll talk about that if I make it through this weekend, which is almost impossible. Nonetheless, ready to I guess get after the NBA for today.
Yeah, let's get after it. And we'll go. I did want to touch just really quickly, and we're not doing a golf show, obviously, but I did want to say that I really think that style that I've been talking about, I mean, Peter Malnati won the tournament, but when you have the fields that are that depressed of talent and in a weird course like that sort of it's weird because it's there's incredible, everybody who plays there plays well. And then there's guys like Peter Malnati, who's never shot under par for a round there, who ends up winning the tournament, who's 0.4% owned. I think you really got to spread out those and get exposure to a ton, especially of the younger guys. Like Chandler Phillips is another one that was on somebody's lineup. It was 0.01% owned, literally completely unowned. And it's just these guys, the difference is just not that great when you're missing the studs. Anyway,
I'll tell you something. Here's something that you told me when I first started playing DFS. And listen, he's maybe not the top player in the world anymore, but he's still pretty freaking good as Osimo, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he's been doing it like just for a long time. And you mentioned to me that like one time you were talking to him about stuff, and he was saying, and I just remember this, that it's actually a really big deal to like instead of getting the 5% guy to get the 1% guy.
Right.
Like, it makes a difference. And I would think about it, 5 times more owned. You know.
Yeah. And when you have 100,000 in a field, that's a big difference.
Yep.
All right, so we're starting off with which one? Oh, well, that's really weird with what they just did to me. They just took away the games. Okay,
what happened?
I don't know. The screen just hiccuped and cut out the games on the SaberSim screen. I think it was just probably just like a weird little mishap. But there they go. They're back. All right, what do you have first? Charlotte, Cleveland.
Yeah. So I have Charlotte and Cleveland first, and it's funny. I'm looking through. I already did a build, so I'm going back and forth to my build and my plays or whatever it is. Like, so for my build, I'm not really getting too much, if anything, at all. So let me go to the actual sheets and see if there's anybody that maybe I was wondering why I'm not. No, not really. I mean, I'm really not getting it too much. Nothing really projects well, and nothing is really showing up in builds. I guess Davis Bertans at 3,700. Like, if there was a contest where you had to play somebody from each team, that would be actually an interesting contest.
I like that.
I guess it would be Bertans, but aside from that, I'm not really getting much anything from this game.
Yeah, for me, it'd be Poku, but sort of this,
how's he been doing? We've been messing around with him a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing is he actually does things when he's on the court. Like he's a fairly decent point per minute guy. Every now and then he has a weird game, like the other day he played 27 minutes, only had 11 fantasy points, but he had 25 yesterday and 24 minutes, or the day before yesterday. He's had 20 and 3 out of 20 plus and 3 out of his last 4. It's a guy you can consider, and there's some upside. There's also some blowout potential run for him here. And I just don't have anything that I like on Cleveland right now. I have no issue if you wanted to do any of the things that we've been doing with Garland or LeVert, or Mobley should be back tonight. We don't know if he's out again. Maybe you play these guys, but nothing that's a priority for me.
Okay.
And moving on, we have Brooklyn to Toronto.
Oh, that's fortunate. You know what I mean? Because that is a 7:00 game, and there's all kinds of nonsense coming up. So it's good to not have to worry about that. So the part of a good part of the aforementioned nonsense is in this Brooklyn game. So I got one. Like, first, as far as exposures go, I'm getting a 1, 2, 3, 4, like 5 Brooklyn guys, maybe even 6 that are 20% or higher as far as initial builds. And the highest owned so far that I have is actually Dorian Finney-Smith with like 56% of that. Nick Claxton, maybe 55%. Trent Wofford, 40%. And all those guys have various degrees of fishiness. Like Dorian Finney-Smith has degrees of fishiness. Like he can obviously always get there. He plays like 74 minutes or whatever, and every once in a while he could smash. But listen, he still is Dorian Finney-Smith. And he still could get his minutes and not score that many fantasy points. So he's definitely weird as far as that goes. You have Trent Wofford, who's a flat 3K. I mean, flat 3K is certainly something to be respected. You got Lonnie Walker. Cam Thomas seems like the most, normal play, I suppose. But, so all those Brooklyn guys look good. As far as Toronto goes, we get the Javon Freeman Liberty experience again if you want. So that would be the guy I'd be getting from Toronto. What are you thinking here? How much of this do we want?
Yeah, unless Trendon Watford starts, this feels extremely suspect. He may not play a minute. And he's projected this way. So, I mean, literally, may not play a minute. You have no reason to play big with any size against Toronto. That while you're down a body, you still have 10 guys who are projected to play 20 minutes. I don't know where this is coming from. So I would be off of that one right now. If I heard word later on, we want to get him run, something like that, maybe. But, I don't think he's any better. I know Day'Ron Sharp's 1,300 more, but if you're going to make that weird play, just play that. And honestly, I don't see why you have to do either of those things. So I would rank it. I guess the Finney-Smith, I'm okay with eating a little bit more of the chalk. He has been a little bit better point per minute in Brooklyn. but it's not like I love it. I would be looking at other things, but I'm open to it with no Cam Johnson. And I think Lonnie Walker, again, another one that you really might get like 12 minutes, and you also might get 24. Like it's there's a lot of variance here. So the ones I feel the most comfortable with would be Bridges, Cam Thomas, Claxton, and it is a really good matchup. So I like the idea of being overweight, but I don't like the guys who I'd have to be overweight on. So I think I would rather be overweight the Bridges, Thomas, Sachs, Claxton grouping than the other, because this matchup has proven to be wonderful for everybody that gets to play Toronto. And Jordan Nwora, as usual, at the beginning of the day, it looks like a terrific value. By the end of the day, will probably look somewhere in between. And there is absolutely, as I keep pointing out, a bus path. He hasn't put up 20 fantasy points in the last 3 games. So if he ends up really popular, you can look elsewhere. I still like him as a player if they give him the run. And look, Grady Dick has a range of outcomes. Everybody just sort of feels like okay to me. The Freeman Liberty, just fine. But I like the game environment, so maybe I would go out of my way to play a little bit of a low on Bruce Brown. This is a game I'm not going to be here later, but I would like to see. I know it's weird to say, but like I still don't trust that Toronto is going to release the same starting lineup twice in a row. Like they just keep doing different things. So whoever they start might end up dictating a little bit more of this stuff, because if they end up starting, Garrett Temple out of the blue, or if Nora starts, or if they decide to start Bruce Brown again, it's up in the air, and I think it changes the projections too. So I would hope to get that information before I end up building my lineup, because I do think getting this game right is very important. All right, Boston, Atlanta.
Right. So, well, we're gonna be blasting our ABBA later on if we want to start playing Fernando at 4,400. It's going to be 20% on plus. I would think maybe even a little more. I don't know. Backup center though, I don't know. But he's looking like one. Again, this is the 12:15 p.m. value report. Like where you have Trent Walford as the top point per dollar play and Bruno Fernando second. We don't know what's going to happen near the end. But right now, that's what I have. Anybody else in this game, I'm really not getting to. Now, again, I always have to check to make sure that we have these Boston Q tags. So White's questionable. And aside from that, everybody else seems – and Holiday's out still. Everybody else seems in. What's the spread in this game? It's got to be 10, right? I mean, like
10 Boston.
I think there's a lot of big spreads today, actually.
Yeah. There's been a lot lately in general. It's just something some teams have given up, so you sort of see it more, I guess.
And some teams are just not really good.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, Boston. These guys are really not showing up for me on today's build. But I'm getting all this Fernando nonsense. So what do you think?
Yeah, so I think the Fernando play is like, it's speculative, but what you like to see is that he definitely has a ceiling. He can be a good producer, but they've also played, like he and Capella played. I think they played a couple minutes together in the last game, which makes you feel a little bit better. But the truth is, he could be very much like, it's not like his role is defined. He played 3 and 9 minutes the previous 2 games. So again, in those situations, I tend to try to avoid the chalk where it is, but it's a guy I would consider because the ceiling is high enough. So. And I don't think he's going to be crazy owned. I think it's going to probably be like by the time it locks, probably going to be like 10%, maybe even less, to be honest with you, because I think his projection number is going to come down. I will say that I do like DeJounte Murray. I know it's expensive, but I think it's a decent play, and I think that a shot or two on Bogdan, but that's pretty much all I have from the Atlanta side. I really think it's important to try to I would want to be using one of my spend ups, I think, from the Boston side. Now, Pritchard may end up being the most popular play on the slate if Derek White is out. But as of right now, even I would be okay with using some Pritchard. I also would want to play some Tatum or Jaylen Brown or Porzingis if Derek White is out. I think all of those guys are really, really good plays. And if it stays the same, I still would probably try to force in a little bit of Tatum and Brown. You have one of the worst defensive teams in the NBA that plays fast. You're on the road, and you have nothing to play for, for your season really, but Tatum is out there playing 1 million minutes trying to get first team all NBA. So I would take some shots on a great matchup like this, as maybe using my spend ups on the Boston side. So that may not be that novel later in the day when if they announce Derek White out, but if Derek White plays and it stays, I still think you try and get some Brown and some Tatum in your lineups. All right, Detroit and New York.
Yeah. So the other thing, I haven't spoken to you since Friday. I want to let you know I had a good day Friday also. I mean, not like smash day Friday, but I mean like tripled my money in like in the fadeaway and like other stuff. Because at the end of the day, you know what I ended up doing? With 2 minutes to post, I just went like 100% Wiseman.
Yeah, I think you had to. Yeah,
because I didn't know what else to do, and he just and my performance on like the DraftKings app looked like it was supposed to look when you have 100% of a guy. You know what I mean? Like everything's pinned to the right, and then you're just kind of like hoping you get the right combination of everybody else.
Exactly.
And this is we've been talking about we've been talking about Wiseman for weeks now, that he's been becoming active and just needed to get unleashed a little bit, and that was the perfect scenario, right? No pressure. They were going to get crushed anyway, and sit Durant. Now Durant sat the other day too, but he's questionable for today. So this is obviously a decent piece of news to see if number one, if he sits, Wiseman starts, and if Wiseman starts, do you want to play him at 5,700 instead of what he was? Good question. The other thing I'll note, by the way, and you mentioned that the NBA had a talk with everybody as far as like offense goes or whatever it was. I'd like to say that between Charlotte and Detroit today, I think these are the first two times I've seen an implied total of under 100 this season.
There's only been a couple. Yeah,
when you have like bad teams at teams that play slow anyway,
right.
That's what you get. The other thing that is interesting is that Cade Cunningham, they actually sat him for injury management, which is actually yesterday, which is actually very, that was very fortunate actually for DFS players, because it could have been worse. They could have like not done that and just
like a 12-minute thing.
Played in 21 minutes anyway.
Yeah.
I happen to think that I kind of want to play him today in a weird way. He was off yesterday. Listen, it's not the same as it always was, but I mean, there's still guys coming, still a younger guy coming to Madison Square Garden, and if he's going to be actually let play, I don't know. I think I might be willing to take a shot. Now, in fairness, I'm not actually getting to him, which is another story. But just kind of, I don't know, just kind of feeling it. Aside from that, what else you have? Is Alec Burks on the Knicks, the Pistons? I'm just kind of making stuff up here. But Miles McBride, 5,400. He looks like an actually reasonable play from this game. Vincenzo, there's Alec Burks. He played against each other. So these guys look like reasonable plays. But listen, it is a low total, whatever it is. I don't know. I have this weird idea that if Durant sits, for example, and they actually let Cade Cunningham play, I don't know. Like, is Madison Square Garden worth anything? That like maybe Wiseman and Cade Cunningham as young guys really just try to put out a really extra good effort? I don't know.
There's something maybe for Cade there. I don't know if there is for Wiseman.
Yeah, who knows? Yeah, Wiseman's happy. He's happy. He's getting a career finally. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But okay, that's pretty much all.
Yeah. So I have a totally the guy I'd be playing if he starts would probably be Metu. I know that it seems like Chasey after yesterday. First of all, I also am biased towards this guy for whatever reason. Why he ended up on multiple winning lineups for me, I don't know, but in the past. But he just put up 34. I don't expect anything like that.
He played 40 minutes. Look at that.
I know. And the question is would they play him again that much? I don't think so. But he's probably going to start at 4,100, and he's going to be completely unowned.
Okay.
And we just talked about a bunch of really speculative plays that are going to be 20% owned. Why not throw out a speculative play that's going to be 0% owned? So he's my speculative one for Detroit. I always like Cade. I just am saying, I think that they're babying him a little bit, and I think they should. That you don't want to mess with those injuries, and he missed a year already. Detroit's playing for next year. I would worry a little bit this game gets a little out of hand. Although to Detroit's credit, they've been a little more competitive. Everybody on the Knicks, in a matchup like this, should be in play. If I had to rank my level of interest, it'd probably be McBride 1, Burks 2, because he's 3,100. Probably Brunson 3, but maybe this is like that weird game where DiVincenzo at 3,500 comes off the bench and gets hot. I just think there's some stuff to do here. And also it's his former team and he knows the guys and whatnot. And, maybe he gets the blowout run with Bogdanovic's case. I think he does. So I kind of like the idea of maybe my get weird plays are Metu and Bogdanovic. Now, whether or not I would have ended up with them today, I don't know. But those are my get weird plays that I think would come in handy.
This is this Metu play. This is like a perfect play that if somehow, some way, Trenton Wofford gets like uber steam, you know what I mean, or whatever, and ends up 30% owned or something like that, and Metu just puts up 28.
Right.
People are like, why didn't we do this?
Right.
It's like, and that's the thing. You visualize. You try to figure out what you're going to be upset at beforehand.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I don't know. This is more instinct than anything else. I mean, I'm looking at the Pistons roster with Ivy and all these other guys. I think if they could somehow keep the game close, I think they're really going to go for the win here. You know what I mean? I think they're going to play their guys. So
yeah. And then the weird part is that I just want to throw out with the Duren thing. Like even with Duren projected to start, they still have Metu in the starting projected lineup. So really keep an eye on whether Metu starts or not if you're going to look.
Okay.
All right. Phoenix, San Antonio.
Yeah. So this is a what do we have here? Ooh, look at this, Brand. Look at this news. So Wembanyama, who's questionable, was not at the shoot around, the portion open to the media. Okay. Well, that's a big deal. It's like if he's out, is it still John Collins? Zach Collins season? No, oh yeah, that's right. So it's still Collins and Barlow. Those are the two guys that picked that up. So unfortunately, that's 8:00. I would say I have to believe. I don't have to believe anything, but it would be nice if we had that news before 7:30. I'm not even going to be greedy. I'm not even going to say before 7. Okay, but just give it to me before 7:30 when we have the actual guys that we want to play, specifically at the center position. You want to play Bruno Fernando, for example. You want to play Duran or Wiseman or somebody like that. It would be nice to, or Claxton. It would be nice to know if Wemby is out or not.
Mm-hmm.
If Wemby is out, how good of a play is Collins? I don't know. Probably pretty good. Right now, if Wemby's playing, I'm not really getting it too much. What else do I have here? That's pretty much all I have from this game. I'm not really getting the Phoenix. And without Wemby being out, I can't really speculate.
Yeah, the only thing I'd say is that, so they just played the same game, and then I didn't pay attention on Saturday. I've got to take a look. Did Wemby get hurt? He only played 20 minutes. I don't know if that is related to what this is. So I need to do I would have to do a little digging. All I can say is that I've seen enough. I've said this all year. Whenever he's low owned, I'm just probably going to play Wemby. You know what I mean? I'm probably going to try to find a way to at least get him into something. There's no reason for him, and every now and then he gets a great matchup and he projects 6 points higher. I don't care about the 6 points difference. He's going to score 30 or he's going to score 75. He's got a huge range of outcomes, and the ceiling is I think it's going to be there more often than not in his games, to be honest with you. They don't have anybody to really match up with him. I know he had a bad game the other day, but again, like I said, I don't know what. So I think Wemby's a little bit interesting as a tournament play. Now, if Wemby's out, and even if he's not, I think Trey Jones and Vassell are already in play anyway. And then Keldon Johnson, if Wemby's out, would probably be my next, followed by Sohan, followed by Zach Collins would be number 1, and then all the other guys would follow him. You'd want to hopefully know that what's happening with that before you made anything. I'm a little bit, just because the Phoenix prices have come down. I actually think that all of Beal, Durant, and Booker are solid plays, but I don't quite feel like I need to prioritize them. If I had to, it'd probably be Booker. But I do think that they're all solid plays at these prices. Oh, so they just updated. Apparently, Wemby went through shoot around, so that's probably good. Thanks for that, Power.
Thanks.
All right. Washington, Chicago.
Yeah. So Washington, Chicago. I think that what's his name? I think DeRozan's a solid enough play here for Chicago. Not so much else from Chicago. And Washington, you have a pretty big Q tag on Jordan Poole. Right now, I actually have Jordan Poole as 50% of my portfolio right now. So that's important for many reasons. And if he's out, then everybody else from Washington gets a bump. Then you have Avdia. boy, it feels like a lot at 7,200, but getting some of him. Rashad Holmes, maybe a little bit. I was expecting to get a little more, but you know what? Chicago is slow enough, I guess. So yeah, so Poole, if he plays, I guess I have to like him a little bit. But I will say this: that it wasn't too long ago that Jordan Poole couldn't do anything. So if it turns out he's popular somehow, I only suggest he's popular just because I'm getting a bunch of him.
Mm-hmm.
Then I don't need to play him if he's huge chalk, if you want to know the truth. But we'll see. We'll see what his ownership turns out to be. We'll see what his playing status turns out to be. And that's pretty much what I have for this game.
Yeah, I hope the projections wouldn't change, and maybe I have to throw in a lineup just because I have no idea where this projection is coming from, Rashawn Holmes being this low. I don't understand it. Without Kuzma, assuming that they start him today, I would say that like just load up. Like it's not an ideal matchup for. So what? He's 4,800. He's all he does is put up 30 or more every night, or whatever, 28 or more. I don't know why we wouldn't play Rashawn Holmes. Like I don't know. Like I'm just confused by the projection. It makes no sense to me. So I would say that Rashawn Holmes would be my highest priority actually on the Washington side. Other than that, it's really hard to know without who's starting. If Patrick Baldwin starts at 3,700. Obviously, that's something you could consider doing. They might start Champagny. They're probably going to get Bagley some minutes tonight. That's probably the one thing keeping Holmes' projection down is that Bagley's back. And then I think if Poole plays, I actually do like him. But like you said, I think you could definitely fade that chalk. So I do think I would get to some of this. I would probably gamble a little bit with the Rashawn Holmes. And if he doesn't start and Bagley does start, I probably would gamble and play Bagley at 5,600 if I got that information. On the Bulls side, great matchup. Kobe White's supposed to play tonight. DeMar DeRozan is projected through the roof. Maybe you just play Kobe White as a pivot, but I like both of them, and I think you could throw Vucevic into the mix as well. So I would be, again, along with the Boston spend-ups that I liked at low ownership, I like this Bulls grouping, and I like, it's sort of how I feel about the I like this group a little bit better than I like the Phoenix group, but I like those guys too. That's sort of how I'm looking at it in terms of spend-ups. All right. What is the next? Portland, Houston?
Yeah. So Portland, Houston, you have Jabari Smith remaining out. And I guess questions arise as to whether you want to play Jeff Green, I suppose. But let me just see what I'm getting right now. Like right now, boy, not too much in this game, honestly. Maybe some Fred VanVleet. Boy, why am I not getting more? That may be a little bit of Amin Thompson I'm getting like right now. So aside from that, I mean, I was expecting to get a little more, but that's pretty much all I'm getting right now.
Yeah, I think the Ayton being questionable is obviously a big piece, but like even with him, like just because they're so down, so I would definitely Scoot Henderson would be like in like almost all my lineups, probably all of them.
Okay.
I just think that it's without Simons, I don't really know, it would be hard for me to find a bus path for him here. Like, I think that it's like the most automatic play. I'm actually surprised that he's not even projected better. Like,
I got him at just like 5X at like 30. Yeah.
Yeah. I think it should be closer to 38 or something. Okay. Or 37, just without Simons. Maybe not. Maybe it's a little high. Like Saberson has him at 36. That seems okay to me. You get that. So you got your guy, Moses Brown, who's projecting well.
Oh, no.
But it's weird because we don't have any idea what's happening with Ayton, so I don't really know how to talk about this. Like, yeah, if Ayton's out, Moses Brown, I think you definitely want some exposure to at 3K flat.
Wait, would he be starting?
No, Duop Reith would probably start again, who has certainly got a ceiling, but there's also Combust at 4,900. The guy who I would have interest in, which is the thing I did the most right of, I think it was Friday. Where is he?
Jabari Walker?
Yeah, Jabari Walker. Maybe it was. Yeah, I think he was.
He had 30 on Friday.
Yeah, I think that he would be the one I'd have the most interest in if there's no Ayton. But honestly, like their starting lineup, I'm looking at two different sites that have three different starters for them. So I don't know what to do with them right now. But I do think you're getting to some of this. So I would go Scoot Henderson 1. Everybody else wait for the starting lineup. But probably if you had to put a guy in as a placeholder, either Chris Murray or Jabari Walker would be the guys I would choose probably. And Ayton tends to sit when he's questionable, for what it's worth. On the Houston side, I have it ranked Green, VanVleet, and it's crazy, but Jalen Green, 8,800, he's been worth it, man. Green, Van Vliet, and then the other guy, now that no one will play him and we have all this speculative value, now I would jump on the Dylan Brooks train a little bit, to be honest. 4,800. He's only a couple hundred more than he was when he was like 75% owned on a big slate. This is the kind of time where I would, is he going to wow you? No, but can he get you 30? Yes. Like I would be happy to play Dylan Brooks when he's like 5% owned. I don't like playing him when he's like 30% owned. So sort of taking the opposite stance that I had last week with Dylan Brooks today. All right. Next up, Dallas, Utah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what Luka's going to be owned. I'm kind of like with the field, I guess, whatever that means. Like 25%. Does that sound right? I don't know.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, that's what I'm getting for him.
By the end of the day, probably like 50.
Because of more value open up, you think?
Probably. Just guessing.
I'm not really getting to anything at all on Utah, and not really getting to anything at all on Dallas except for Luka. Am I missing anybody? You like anybody here?
Honestly, I don't really. If they did something, I don't really have anything on the Utah side. On Dallas, I really think that, we know how I feel about Luka. I think you can play him every night. He's still, a 5.3 projection at 12.8 is pretty good still. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and he's going to probably be somewhere between 65 and 75. And yeah, if you can make it work, sure. That would be probably my only high level interest. Yeah, you could always take a gamble with the bigs, but I think it'd be Luka for me.
Well, unfortunately, this Memphis-Denver game is 9 o'clock, and you have questionable tags on Jokic and Jamal Murray.
And a bunch of guys on Memphis.
And a bunch of guys on Memphis. So this slate is actually officially a shit show. Desmond Bane I'm just reading. Desmond Bane upgraded to questionable from doubtful. That's something. All right, Williams is doubtful. All right, that's good that we have that.
Yeah.
LaRavia, I mean, questionable, illness. I mean, Conchar doubtful. All right, so we're getting something here. But I mean, the reality is this what's his name news? The
Jokic and Murray.
Yeah, because if he is in fact out, then DeAndre Jordan at 4,500 is going to be kind of a rough one.
I don't think people are going to do it.
You don't think so?
I don't know. I think that there is enough bus paths and enough ways they could play small with Peyton Watson at the center.
Well, I'll put it to you another way. I mean, I think one of these guys, between those two, I think.
If they're both out and you're deciding between Reggie Jackson and it's sort of like, I would rather have Reggie Jackson than DeAndre Jordan.
You'd rather Reggie Jackson than DeAndre.
If Jamal's at Murray's out too, yeah.
Okay.
I don't know that I don't think Denver will just.
Who's to say that DeAndre Jordan scores more than Bruno Fernando, for example?
Exactly.
Even
if he gets, I mean, it's not like we usually when we play him in this spot, he's 3K. He's 4,500. It's not the same thing. And I don't think that he has to get there. Now, can he? Sure. But he doesn't have to. He did put up 28 in the last game, so he definitely got there. But I don't think you have to, I just think by the time this game rolls around, people are probably going to have a lot of their decisions made. And, in that case, maybe you would play him because I think there's a bus path, but I think he'd be a decent enough play. I like the idea of Peyton Watson if those guys are out, if Jokic is out.
I like it.
I think I can see that.
Yeah, I mean, right now I don't have anybody. I really don't have anybody from this game at all because we just don't know. Boy, I really hope that we know.
Yeah.
I mean, you could. What can you do?
Here's what you could do. You could put Jordan Goodwin in your utility spot, and because I don't think it's that bad of a play anyway. But you also and you leave a couple hundred out there. You can always use that couple hundred to switch over to Jokic to Murray to Jordan if you want to. I mean, at center. And if not, and also Jordan Goodwin might get a boost if Dane LaRavia are out. You know what I mean? So it's still, it might not be the worst place. That's something you could do to keep that stuff intact. You also could, no, that's pretty much all I had actually for how you could do it.
Let me see the totals on this one. Yeah, this is another one with 100. 100 for Memphis.
Yeah, they're not, yeah. And 15 points for Denver, it's really hard to know what to make of that because I think that if Jokic and Murray were officially good, like it's probably only like 17 or 17 and a half. Like, I don't think we're getting Vegas is telling us much with this line.
I'll tell you who else, who's really, showing out offensively is Jaren Jackson Jr. He's been,
he's been better, but not as much as you'd hope, right?
I don't know. I guess he made an incredible shot down the stretch against.
Yeah, he won the game the other night.
Yeah, he took somebody off the dribble, and then he a lefty floater in the middle of the lane. It was pretty awesome, actually.
Yeah, that San Antonio one, that was a good one.
Yeah,
and he had like 7 fantasy points at halftime, so he got all of those basically in the second half. Which, because I played him in my big buy-in that night, and I was like, wait a minute, how did I just almost cash when I was like in last place? And I was like, oh, because Jaren Jackson put up 37 in the second half.
I mean, think about this, from a fantasy perspective, he's only getting like 40, and this is including like almost 30 real life points from this guy.
I know. It's a little. He just doesn't rebound the way you want a big to rebound. But
no. Well, right, no jaw. You know what I mean? Like his role's different. You know what I mean? Like that's
exactly. All right. Well, I think I'm going to get out of here pretty soon, and good luck to everybody later today. I will try and check in as much as I'm able to from the woods. We'll see what it's like.
Okay.
Anything else, Sheets?
No, we're good.
All right. Good luck, everybody.